Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Look, one of the talking points all offseason long has been and is going to continue to be the offensive line, right? Because it's an unknown. It's something new. Lance Hurd, the only returning starter from a year ago. And some people want to question Glenn Ellerbe. And is it fair? I think it probably is fair. It's okay to be on watch for the 2025 season. Can he recruit at an elite level? Can he evaluate? Can he develop talent? And I think if you break it down step by step, starting with a recruiting standpoint, I think that Glenn Ellerbe missed early in his time at Tennessee. But here lately, you signed 5-star offensive tackle David Sanders. You signed a 4-star interior offensive lineman in Nick Moore. He's ranked inside the top 200 at the On3 industry rankings. The class of 24, a cycle earlier, you signed 3 blue-chip offensive linemen with Bennett Warren, William Satterwhite, Max Anderson. I guess the question is, can you develop that talent? You know, a lot of people want to say, well, we've not seen any of the young guys. Why have we not seen the young guys? And I guess the answer is we really don't know. We don't know. Cooper Mays has been the starting center at Tennessee since Josh Heupel stepped foot on campus. So we've not seen a guy like William Satterwhite step up, but now is his time. Just because it's unknown, just because it's different, just because it's new, doesn't mean it can't be good. Look, you look at the COVID years. That made it even worse, right? This offensive line had a bunch of veteran guys, Coop, Spraggs, Dane Davis, a lot of guys. Then you add in the transfer portal factor, right? You went and you got Andres Carrick. You went and you got John Campbell. This year, you got Sam Pendleton. You got Wendell Moy Jr. And I get it. You can kind of blend that into, can Glenn Ellerbe develop guys from the high school level? Can he develop that talent? Maybe. You felt the need to go fill those holes in the portal. I think, again, going back to Glenn Ellerbe missing early in the cycle, I think that could have something to do with needing to go and get some of those guys in the portal. You missed on guys like Francis Mauigoa, Lucas Simmons. There were some other guys that Glenn Ellerbe missed on early. But lately, I feel like he's done a great job recruiting. You look at the offensive line, just from the outside looking in, you got 2 5-star offensive tackles. You got guys with experience on the interior at guard. And then we're going to see. We're going to find out what William Satterwhite does. My eyes are on him. Did Glenn Ellerbe develop him? Is he ready to be the starting center in 2025? But you've got some momentum in recruiting on that offensive line. Can you continue that momentum? The number 1 interior offensive lineman, Darius Gray, was in town over the weekend, took his official visit to Rocky Top. He had some big words to say after that visit. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about it. But as always, I need you guys to do me a favor. Smash the thumbs up down there below the video. It's quick, free, easy. It helps the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. If it's your first time here to the Talkin VAWLS Network, welcome. We're not experts here. We're not insiders. We're not media. What we are is exactly what you guys are watching the show. This channel is for the fans, by the fans. If you like it, subscribe. Click the bell for notifications. You're not going to miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. We got a fun one. We're going live, Talkin VAWLS live every Wednesday night this month, 7 p.m. Eastern time this Wednesday, talking about the offensive line. Who better to ask than Sam Pendleton, Tennessee offensive guard, will be on the show, 7 o'clock. Come show up, show out, show him some love. He wants to get to know the Vol faithful, and he wants the Vol faithful to get to know him. But let's get into it. Let's talk about Darius Gray, a 5-star interior offensive lineman. You can see the profile there on the screen, ranked 23rd overall nationally. Number 1 ranked interior offensive lineman, 6'3", 285 pounds. Let's take a look at some highlights here. I'll let you guys be the judge. You guys tell me what you think of the number 1 interior offensive lineman. Andrew Ivins over at 247 Sports says he is an athletic offensive lineman with dense build that has the foot quickness to lead the way on long pulls or counters and the horsepower to hold the line of scrimmage or change it. Ended up being one of the biggest surprises at the 2025 Navy All-American Bowl as he arrived with 34-inch arms and then was able to anchor all week against much older and larger defenders. Relentless energy allows him to not only be a plus finisher in the run game, but also readjust and recover in pass sets. Tends to punch with authority and frequently has the upper and lower halves dancing to the same tune. Has what it takes to certainly handle one of the corners on Saturdays. The combination of brute force and rare movement patterns suggest that he could emerge as a cheat code of a guard in a zone blocking scheme. Might need a development year or 2 to find his bearings as he levels up in competition and adjusts to the speed of college game, but profiles as someone that has what it takes to blossom into an early round NFL draft pick with his basketball background and full-time 2-way snaps at the prep level. He is elite. Adding him to this football team would be huge. And when you question Glenn Ellerby recruiting, I think you got to kind of flush that, right? And, I get it. Adding Lance Hurd, that wasn't high school recruiting. That was via the transfer portal. But still, you've got 2 5-star offensive tackles. And if you follow that up with a 5-star on the inside, don't forget Big Squish. You've also got Gabriel Ascended in this class, another 5-star offensive lineman. I think you add Darius Gray, and then all of a sudden, we've got some serious momentum. But I felt like going into the weekend, going into the official visits, I felt like Tennessee really had some ground to make up here. We talked about it, going into the weekend. Steve Wiltfong had put in a prediction that LSU was going to land Darius Gray. He put that back in on May the 12th. Chad Simmons has been rolling with South Carolina going back to November of last year. He's just sat on that prediction, and I don't think there's any clear-cut front runner. Everybody's kind of had momentum at different times. Again, going into the weekend, this is what VolQuest said. They said Tennessee will take their swing at Darius Gray and continue to believe this is a recruitment that will ultimately be decided by the official visits. Multiple schools have held momentum in this recruitment at one point, and the Vols likely have some ground to make up in a recruitment that is sure to have some twists and turns remaining. So what did Darius Gray have to say coming off of the official? Because we talked about where this was at heading into it. What did he have to say coming off of the visit? Well, Steve Wiltfong put this out on Twitter. 5-star interior offensive lineman Darius Gray says Tennessee stands at the top of his board following his weekend to Knoxville. That is huge. This is big. Now, you got to hold that momentum, right? You got to continue to hold that momentum, but he clear-cut says Tennessee is at the top of the board. Here's the quote. He says, my official visit to Tennessee was great. What excites me is to play for a program like this and a supportive fan base and help them win as many games as possible. He says, they stand at the top of my board. What makes it special is the people in that building. I get it. Some people think it's all about money. Just drop the bag, spend the money. Oh, they offered him more money, money this, money that. That's all that matters. Guess what? Darius Gray is going to get paid. Darius Gray is going to get a bag, just the same way that David Sanders got a bag. All these kids, all these elite prospects are going to get paid. Is money part of it? Yes, but there is more to it than money. Tennessee is going to make a competitive offer. They're going to make a competitive offer. Some people think Tennessee's out of money. Guess what? They're not. They're going to make a competitive offer. They know what they are willing to spend. But sometimes it's about more than that. And when he talks about the people in the building, I've heard Darius Gray say it a lot, talk about the culture being important to his decision. So I think Josh Heupel and the culture, what he has built on Rocky Top, I know it's buzzwords. I know it's cliche. We've had big Anthony Aguilar on the show before. He's going to be back on the show again here in a couple of weeks. We've heard him talk about how genuine Josh Heupel is, authentic. He's different. And I think these kids see that. So, yes, are there some kids that are all about money? Of course there are. But culture, family, relationships, it still matters. And he says what makes it special is the people in the building. Went over to Go Vols 247, saw a couple of quotes coming off the visit. Darius Gray said they did a great job. I think Tennessee is definitely going to be a school that we're going to consider when it's decision time. Tennessee has always been at the top of the list for me. However, as long as I've been knowing them, they've never changed since. And that's another big thing. You go down a few times, you kind of start to see people switch up a little bit. They're the same people as I met them the very first time. So that's big. Goes on to say, I enjoyed everything. Just being around the players was kind of the biggest thing. He says this was the next step in the recruitment process. Everybody was great, like Dave and all those guys like that. Nick Moore, great people. To build relationships with the guys you're going to be around in the locker room, that's the next important thing. It was great. Kind of closer to Dave, smaller guy, slimmer a little bit. You have to use your feet a lot more to block. I can't really just power guys at 270 right now. Kind of shows that, and I've been able to see Dave constantly progress, put on some weight, and just look better. I kind of see my path being similar to his. He goes on to say, I was thinking about it last night. I think we can do a lot of damage together, definitely. Imagine that offensive line. Imagine that offensive line with Big Dave Sanders, Darius Gray, Sam Pendleton, William Satterwhite. I think Glenn Ellerby is doing a pretty dang good job recruiting. We'll see what this offensive line looks like in 2025. You got to continue to hold on to the momentum with Darius Gray. You're at the top of the board. That's great. He's already taken officials to Virginia, Virginia Tech, Georgia, Clemson. He was at Tennessee this weekend. Coming up, he's going to Auburn, Ohio State, LSU, Penn State, South Carolina. Tennessee's going to have to hold that momentum. This is a big boy battle, but for now, Tennessee is at the top of the board for Darius Gray. What are your thoughts? Jump in the comment section. Let's talk about it. As always, smash that thumbs up. on the way out the door, go check out the official merchandise of the Talkin VAWLS Network. You can go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. That link's also in the description below. We also need you to keep those memberships up to date. Somebody messaged me yesterday and said, Boogie, YouTube canceled my membership and I didn't even know about it. We need your support to keep this show rolling. Think about hitting that join button down below for $1. That's all. That's all we ask. $1. You get access to custom Talkin VAWLS emojis, fan call-in shows, all kinds of fun perks and benefits. But if not, that's fine. Smash the thumbs up on the way out the door because it's quick, free, and easy. But that is going to do it for this one. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.